The message on the front cover of this is from my sister. And what was it, 2019, 2020? I'd been trying to turn in Scott DaCosta in specific since 2018. When this message happened, it was after I had been assaulted by Scott DaCosta. Scott DaCosta and his goons, including registered sex offender Robert Franklin Mornick. Well, they had to drop all the charges against me because they were all bullshit. But that's not why they had me locked up. They had me locked up because they didn't want to go to fucking prison. Leslie Snell did not want to go to prison. She worked for Scott DaCosta. Her husband and brother-in-law had taken part in threatening my life along with Christopher Kurth. I've got recordings with Leslie Snell on this channel. I've got recordings with Carl Snell on this channel. I've got recordings with Clint Snell on this channel. I've got recordings with Sheriff Scott DaCosta on this channel. It's a matter of being able to go through the evidence while I'm still having to record abuse everywhere that I go. Now, you might have noticed a lot of times I don't record when I go into Safeway. It's because I do feel relatively safe inside of the store. Later on tonight, I'm going to be doing a lot of writing down about the stuff from Wolnez and them little Nazi fuckers and the police. I'm going to write down the names of the videos, that way they're easy to reference and look up. I'm going to click on those links so that I have them. And then after I've written all that down, I'll have plenty of time to make a video that has everything in it, hopefully, and links to all of the videos. At least in the situation with Wolnez. Now, what did Malcolm say to do? In that recording where he was the one who broke up the altercation between myself and Wolnez. He said to come inside of the store, and that's what I did. That's what many other people who work there said to do, is to go inside of the store. Now, I was making a video about him being predatory towards me today and yesterday, even after the cops were called. And because those were unsafe situations, I did make sure that I recorded the fact that I did maintain very well in public. Andrew Wolnez is on my channel because he keeps doing these things. Officers are on my channel because they keep doing these things. Writing down the times of the most recent occurrences is still a possibility. Depends on how cold it gets tonight, how long I sit on my fingers so they warm up, and whether or not I can find a pen and a piece of paper to write on. If I can do that, I should be able to do the rest. It's just a matter of trying to remember everything and having it in order. The wolnez situation never needed to happen. The situations that happened in Hood River were horrible enough. The situations that happened in the Dalles, Oregon were horrible enough. Now I have a external car charger. Let's see if we'll show it right there. And it's charging up some of my electronics. Temporarily anyway, it's allowing me the ability to charge up this phone by moving back and forth between two battery packs that I keep plugging into that. Something about the telephone kind of triggers the thing and makes it shut off, but the chargers it works fine on, so that's what I'm plugging into it. Obviously, I'm just making this video because I'm stressed out. Wolnez has come back 3 times today to do the same shit he was doing yesterday and the day before. See, he started off pulling this crap. My little sister ain't running around pretending I done nothing naughty to her. And Natalie Bollinger didn't go running around pretending that shit either. She just pretended like she was stalked because she was embarrassed, and the evidence all shows that. But if you take it out of context, well, you could pretend just about anything happened, can't you? That's the point of getting people to look at evidence instead of just believing what they're told. A lot of people will assume somebody's guilt based on their gender. A lot of people will assume somebody's guilt based on occupation, based on skin color, based on sexual orientation, based on apparent worth to society. It's the folks here at Safeway that are keeping me safe right now, to the best of their ability. But with the cops like Martinez gaslighting people, it makes it near impossible to turn it in. What he did was inappropriate, he knows it, but he also knows I've been trying to turn him in and his fellow officers. When he wants to claim that I brought it on myself, and he tells people that. This is based on what? On theory? Because I've recorded the abuse. My predators don't like that. They're pissed off. How many people are pissed off that they were recorded? Meanwhile, how many of these folks, even the folks that work at Safeway, think it's a good idea for me to record? How many of the people who work at Safeway suggested that I park over here or over there when I was parking over at the other side? How many people have suggested that I get a taser and tase him? I tell them I have a taser. I don't have it in me to tase the guy. They say, well, you should get some bear mace. If you spray him in the face with bear mace, he'll never try it again. Well, I've got bear mace. I just can't bring myself to spray the guy with it. I don't have it in me to just go hurting people like that, even when they're hurting me. A lot of people have told me that what I should have done is hurt him, and there's a lot of people who have said that, both men and women. who instruct me to harm others who are harming me. And you get to hear their reasoning too, and their reasoning is sound. If people are hurting me, I should be allowed to defend myself. How many of these people who suggested that I get violent with Andrew Wolnez, how many of these people have stated that exact fact right there? They believe that I should be allowed to defend myself when people are doing these things to me. I should be allowed to fight back. They tell me I should be allowed. They tell me that I should record and that it's a good idea. And if the situation is relatively safe, I have no reason to record it. But when I'm following the instructions of the store manager and various other managers here, as well as many of the employees who have been witnesses to these situations, they all tell me to go in the store. So wolnez started getting more and more brazen, and he started coming into the store and doing it. Meanwhile, a lot of people told me I should record it. A whole bunch of people that work here told me that I should record it when I was already recording it. And I told them that. I said, I already record it. I need help turning it in. I don't have the most basic resources. Just keeping a charge on my phone is nearly impossible. Being able to get to storage where most of my evidence is, I can't do that right now. I'm not capable. It's not just a matter of getting there. It's a matter of getting up those fucking stairs and back down. And a matter of being able to carry 15 bags full of evidence. Just paper evidence alone. Plus, there's my computers that are full of evidence. Seven telephones full of evidence. Yeah, it's got plenty of evidence that I get pissed off. It also has plenty of evidence that shows why. And these people here, I am not horrible to them. I'm not mean to them. I don't go in there and steal stuff. I don't go in there trying to start trouble with the people that work there. I don't get all fucked up on drugs and go in there and start shit with people. I don't get all drunk and pass out in their bathroom. I mind my P's and Q's. Malcolm told me if there was an issue, and he's the store director. He's the manager of the place. He's one of many people who gave me the exact same instructions. When people are doing that, go inside the store and let someone know. And I always do. Now, there's two people at the store who understand, at least in a small way, how dangerous the situation it is and how I'm being messed with. Making all this stuff private is kind of the goal, actually. When we've got a good police officer who will do his job, who will do his duty, then we can turn over all this evidence. This evidence, it not being turned in, isn't from lack of trying. It's from a lack of effective coordination. Because there are things that I am not able to do for myself. I am dependent upon others for. And those other people have people in their lives that are priority for a reason. And rightly so, it's their families. When I record live on YouTube, it's because there is a clear and immediate safety issue. If I'm recording inside of the Safeway, it's because I'm following instructions after an altercation or situation with someone like Wolnez, or them youngins throwing firecrackers at my vehicle and screaming the N-word at me. Anyway, it's not exactly safe for me to be in my vehicle without recording, but I am able to lock my door, and I'm able to start a recording if something happens. I'm able to sort of start it immediately now. I have enough charge on my phone to do so. I'm up to 59% charge. That means I might be able to even record for a couple of hours if necessary. Wolnez likes to keep this stuff up until sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning. Obviously, he's chucking rocks at people's vehicles in the Safeway parking lot. That's for surely not legal and not okay. I've followed this set of instructions going all the way back since before I had an issue with wolnez. These were my instructions from the people at Safeway when James Murphy was stalking me. These were the instructions from people at Safeway through the situations with Farnsworth that happened here. And I did tell them, I don't want Farnsworth to be 86th from here. I just want him to leave me alone. And you know what? Mr. Farnsworth has left me alone. Whenever I see him, he seems happy. He doesn't approach me. He doesn't come bother me. He doesn't yell stuff across the street at me. He doesn't pursue me like he was before. And probably over a dozen times now that I've seen Robert Farnsworth. 2 of those times, at a last dozen or 2 times, he gave me money because I was panhandling. He didn't say anything, he just gave me the money. And the rest of the time, he pretends like I don't exist, which is alright. Or a couple of times he has said something to acknowledge my existence. And I'm very thankful for that. Let's see how much charge I got on this charger. Alright. Someone calling themselves Jane typed hello. Hello, Jane. A lot of the videos I've made recently have had, obviously, me putting actual evidence in the videos, links to some of that evidence, and at least the names of that evidence if I'm not able to make a link. This one right here is just in case, because I'm going to go from here to the Safeway to go to the bathroom. But it's also to explain that the people here at the Safeway have gone above and beyond, and they should have never had to. I should have never been victimized by the police to the point that I had to be afraid of them. Nobody should be afraid of that here in the United States. When we're victimized out here, we can't go to the police for help. They do exactly what I tell you that they do. They try to deter or defer people. They try to deter those people by telling them things like, oh, he brought it on himself. Or making audacious claims like, oh, he's wanted for murder in Colorado. And these people are preying on the fact that when people look up Natalie Bollinger in that situation, let me give you one example that a lot of people bring up. There was a Natalie Bollinger video where for 45 minutes out of a 50-minute video, they painted me out to be some sort of super stalker who couldn't take no for an answer. Just wanted to get my dick wet and I was in love with some underage girl and bullshit like that. And after all of that slandering, at the very end of the video, the very last 5 minutes, they say that Joseph Michael Lopez shot Natalie Marie Bollinger in the head with her boyfriend's 9mm Glock 19 at 6 to 15 inches away from her head at McIntosh Dairy outside of Thornton, Colorado, only 5 blocks away from Kayla Trujillo's on 120th and Melody. It was a cold night, and sound carries on a cold night. So, for 45 minutes out of the 50-minute segment, they tell this big, long fantasy tale about the evil Sean David Schwartz, followed by 5 minutes of them finally telling people who it is that actually killed Natalie. And my predators prey on that. They say something to somebody, they look it up, they listen to 5 minutes of it and go, oh, this guy's a horrible monster, we better do something. Jane typed, I saw a comment of yours under a video and saw that you were live. Yes, ma'am. What video was it? If you don't mind me asking. The video I made just prior to this, one of my predators here in Tillamook, Oregon, one of the many places I've had to move, was yelling at me and throwing shit at me and, well, getting very much more up close and personal than he should have been. He also made claims that, of course, are untrue, and I've shown them to be untrue time and again. Not just with my words, but also Natalie Bollinger's words, Alicia Bollinger's words, my little sister's words. Oh, Jane typed, a man speaking about suicide while autistic. Yes, that is a hot topic on the internet right now, and me being an autistic male, I definitely have to deal with it. We'll show that comment. I think you should be allowed to show that. I remember the video. It was an older man, and yeah, he talks about how high of a suicide rate autistic people have, but also there's a lot of the reason why. It's because we are not heard. Everybody assumes that because we're autistic, we're retarded. I've got an IQ of 172. That's pretty high. I mean, sure, I'm no 200, but I've got a pretty decent IQ. I've got something called hyperlexia, which meant that at 6 years of age, I was able to read words that were college words. Not only that, I was able to read them upside down. Jane typed, I'm a 41-year-old Canadian with autism. Assisted suicide will be approved for mental illness in March. I plan to apply. Yes, Miss Jane. A lot of us understand that. You get to see here in the United States this supposed capitalist utopia, how you're not even a human being if you don't have that capital, which is another name for money. Here in America, it's about who's the best used car salesman. Here in Oregon, a couple of people that were trying to help me out with the Natalie Bollinger situation went missing back in 2019. I came here on vacation to try to help find them, to help out another victim from the Boulder abuse named Rebecca Gross Nickel Folly. Ended up getting stuck here, going from place to place, being victimized place to place. This guy, Andrew Wolnez, who victimizes me here in Tillamook, Oregon, he's running around trying to pretend like I'm a child molester and a murderer. And the thing is that the evidence shows those things are not true. The evidence also shows that all of these assholes wanted to use the quote-unquote mentally ill tag as an excuse to harm me. I've got PTSD, that's post-traumatic stress disorder. I have that because of abuse stemming from my childhood, but also going into my adulthood. Anybody can harm me whenever they want, call me mentally ill, and get away with it. And the only way for me to be heard is to show people what's going on and hope that they take a look. Once they see what I'm going through and why, once they understand why we have to be afraid, their outlook on it changes. Most people start off cynical, and the more they look into it, the more they realize I'm an asshole for a reason. Some of these folks, when I'm speaking out about how angry I am because of this abuse and because of the number of bodies over it, that's a tough topic to get into. People are afraid to stand up to the police. They start off cynical, and once they start seeing how much evidence there is that I'm telling the truth about it, they say, hey, dude, you could sue the shit out of them. You could literally make millions of dollars. And then they start telling me about somebody who made millions of dollars out of suing people for less. And I explain that I've been illegally prevented from doing that. There's also, once they realize how much evidence there really is, and they say things like, Sean, it's impossible. Nobody could do that. That's one of the things about people, quote unquote, letting it go for so long. Andrew Wolnez has been recorded on my channel in the last 7 days alone, at least a dozen times victimizing me, terrorizing me, harassing me, making false accusations about me, and thinking it's okay. I told my sister, and this is recorded, by the way, in the video I posted right before this one. I showed evidence of it, showed you where to find the videos and the names of the videos. It wasn't just my little sister whose life was threatened. You also get to see that while I'm making that video about the situation, Wolnez comes out, even though he's not allowed on the property. He comes out, like earlier today when he threw the rock and wanted to yell at me. He came back and wanted to continue yelling at me and screaming at me and riding his bike onto the property to harass me even more. He screams at me until I record him, and then he bitches that he's being recorded. He thinks it's okay to record me. Well, guess what? I think it's okay to record me as well. Obviously, I record me often. I realize that I'm stuck in public. Some of my predators are actually from Canada, by the way, Jane. Some of my predators, like Cora Bowers and her friend, Wanted to be as threatening as possible. Of course, I don't need to worry about Cora Bowers all the way up in British Columbia, do I? I don't think she's in British Columbia, actually. I think she's in, like, Newfoundland or Saskatchewan, maybe. I don't know. I know that her and her friend are Canadian, and that I have far less to fear from them than I have to fear from people like Andrew Wolnez. People harassing me and threatening me on the internet isn't so much of an issue, except for there's the frequency of it. It happens so often, and the fact that so many people on my YouTube channel that have messaged me have shown by introducing themselves in real life while I was recording that they are in fact and indeed there in the very same parking lot as me, talking to me about the situation, typing to me about the situation. Jane typed, "I'm in Newfoundland. Good dogs." I don't know if that's actually where the breed comes from, but one of the things that I've been working on real hard is trying to get assisted termination of life legal. I don't think that anybody should have to go through this kind of abuse. The PTSD isn't just from my abusers, it's also from people not understanding that I need help turning it in. All my predators have to do is harm me and pretend that I'm freaking out for no reason. Call me mentally ill and it's magically okay. And with the police being the ones running around telling people these things, that makes it very unsafe to go to police about it. I'm gonna plug in my external charger here. Let's see what kind of a charge I'm up to now. 57%, that's a pretty decent amount. Jane typed, just for the record, it's pronounced Newfoundland. Newfoundland. All right, well, I probably won't remember that, and I probably butchered it twice when I tried to say that and sound it out. I do apologize if I butchered it. I've shown a lot of evidence of not just Andrew Wolnez, but people all over the world threatening me, harassing me, because they heard a rumor on the internet. A lot of people have gaslit me. That includes police officers telling people I'm wanted for murder, or telling people that I brought it on myself. Like Officer Martinez here in Tillamook. I want to take my recordings down from public. I want them to be private. But I have to be able to turn that stuff in, which means that people have to be allowed access to it. If they're able to see it, maybe they'll be able to help to turn this stuff in. There's folks in real life who are trying to help how they can, but family issues of their own, health issues of their own, these things do happen to people. Hopefully there's, enough battery between that and this that it'll hold me out until tomorrow. It shows only 1 light out of 4. I'm about to burn down some of the battery on the telephone because, well, if there is a safety issue, I record outside of the Safeway when the situation happens, and I go inside immediately and tell them what happened. I'm told when something like that happens to come in and tell somebody, and I do. I come in and I tell somebody. Right now, nobody's messing with me. So once I get to the Safeway, I get to turn off the recording because it is relatively safe in there. With Wolnez having not done anything to me in at least the last 30 minutes, 36 minutes. Hopefully he's done for the night. That doesn't mean that he is. Jane typed, "I'm so glad you have someone." I don't have someone. I really don't. There's a lot of these people that want to but don't know how, don't understand, or they have this assumption of my stupidity. Like me going through this for 7 years, and they know better than I do in 5 minutes of looking at stuff on Google. Like, no, Google is not going to tell you shit about my life. And Google isn't going to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about Natalie Bollinger's life either. There's a vehicle in the parking lot that belongs to one of the people I have to be afraid of in this town. But he's not somebody who's actively pursuing me. Somebody who's actively trying to assault me. He did throw an apple through my window. He's not happy about me speaking up about the firearm he took from Amanda's mom's gun. He's not happy that he was recorded on my channel speaking about, well, he was talking to Dallas Palmer about buying a firearm from Dallas. But also, both of those men are well aware that I record for my safety. I'm glad that Robert Farnsworth is able to come here and get his food. The place that he lives at is the only thing even closely approaching a homeless shelter here. He's one of 4 people that have been predatory towards me in the past, and 3 of them I do have to worry about. He's not one. So in my next video, hopefully before I get started on it, I'll be able to write down the names of the videos and the times that different events happen. We'll be able to go through and show the timeline from the beginning. We'll show Christian Alexander Sharrow and the situation with him that started racism, the hardcore racism and bullying from those youngins. We'll also show how that turned into Wolnez and all the crap that she's been pulling. Anyway, you know how we end these videos. It's good to be rid of you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble. Bonjour. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's too. And no victim left behind.